how you shared it so authentically. It was so raw, unfiltered, going from the vendors on these highways and meeting people. And I love how you went from school to school. So you were raising money for TCF, and as you've mentioned, and as we can tell as well, you're very passionate about education. Why is that? Do you want to talk a little bit more about TCF and your passion for education?
So my passion for education stems from my family. I'm sitting in front of you because my father moved to Taxila in 1991. That's where he met my mother. Uh, but my mother, she was the first female or first girl in her entire village to go beyond high school. She had just graduated and she used to run a tuition center with 90 plus kids. My dad had just moved to Taxel at the time and he wanted to open a school. They did a merger of the tuition center merged into my dad's school. Eventually, they ended up opening both of them 16 more schools in the area. So I've seen up
Wow.
close their struggles in a rural part of Taxila where there's no education, there was no school in the area. They used to go to each and every house in the village and do a campaign to ask people to send their, especially their daughters, to school. So they had to hire female faculty so that people are comfortable to send their daughters to school. There was a lot of backlash, and growing up, I saw that, and there was a certain kind of pressure and responsibility on us because we were privileged enough to be born to parents who value education. So passing on that legacy, and so that's where the my passion for education comes from. And when I moved to Boston in 2022 for my grad school, I became my two of my best friends, Nadeem Hussain and Yasser. They had gone through the whole TCF system. Nadeem,
Yeah.
worked at IMF, has worked at World Bank, but he had never gone to school until very late in his childhood.
Hmm.
Similarly, Yasser, he went through the TCF system. Now, mashallah, is working as a data engineer in Silicon Valley. So those are the stories. I mean, I initially I thought maybe these guys are just anomalies, very smart, super smart kids, who went through the TCF system, achieved so much. But when I was living up close with them, I started meeting so many other TCF alumni who are doing amazing things in their life professionally. Um, so that's what inspired me to do something for TCF. I researched some more. So for those who don't know what TCF is, TCF operates 2,000 schools in Pakistan, a little more than 2,000. They provide near free education to 300,000 plus kids. They employ 14,000 women as teachers. So that's what TCF does in Pakistan. And I was happy to, or I think I was lucky to play a very small part in the whole TCF journey. TCF started in 95 or 97, right around the time when I was born. They started with 5 schools, and now they have 2,000 plus schools. So that's how my that's but when I said that when I announced that I'm going to fundraise for TCF, I was getting questions like, is does your father run TCF? Are you related to anybody at TCF? I didn't even know anybody at TCF. My introduction to TCF was through the success stories of TCF. And my definition of success story has also changed, to be honest, with this run, because my before the run, I define a success story. Oh, somebody's a doctor. Oh, he works at a top investment bank. Oh, this guy, he goes to a top university. That was my definition of success. But since my run, my definition has evolved, because if you go to a very small town or a rural area where people are having a hard time putting food on table, and you educate someone and that was someone is now a good citizen, or is now a good member of the society, and then that person paves way for education or for economic prosperity for their next generation. That is success as well. Somebody who didn't know how to read, now they can read, they can do whatever they want to in a dignified manner. So that is also success. So I think my definition of success has evolved through TCF too.
Yeah. What would it be now? Is it educating people or
I
creating
think,
impact?
yeah, I think anybody who's a good person, education is more than just money you earn.
Yes,
Education makes you um, I think essentially a better person, more educated in things other than just outside of textbook. It teaches you a way of life as well. You're more empathetic. You're more aware of your surroundings. So I think if education can help people become better human beings, I think that's my definition of success now.
that's beautiful, man. And education is it's such a noble cause. But going back to your driving force, I feel like a big part of us as adults is just trying to satisfy our parents as we were young. So they create these expectations are created so early on and subconsciously as well. So how big of a part of you was trying to that child within you was trying to satisfy your parents so because they set this precedent of creating change and impact through education, and maybe in your mind they created this expectation, oh, this is what success means, and this is what really makes them proud. Because for a child, it's they just they go off of their parents' energy and what they appreciate, what they like, what they dislike, and sort of evolve from there. So
Yeah.
did that also?
Yeah, I don't know how much of this was because of my, expectations from my parents, but I was just happy to see my family at the finish line. I was happy to see, the tears of joy in my mother's and my dad's eyes. That was just a very proud moment for me. I'm not sure how much of the expectations growing up played a part in me doing this run. I'm sure they played a big part, but I was just happy to see them happy and proud because it was a hard sell for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
when I when I first when I first told my dad, he was like, "नहीं बेटा, करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, मर भी सकते हो, ट्रक मार जाएगा," and my
Yeah,
mom was like, लग जाएगी, कुछ हो जाएगा. So it was a hard sell,
I can
and
imagine.
my mom visited me in August, in July and August, September. That's when like my training was at its peak, and used to feel so guilty because I used to work like 9 hours in the day, 10 hours during the day, and as soon as I'd come back, I'd wear my running shoes, I'd get out and run, and I'd take my mom to my run club, see how we're doing. I tried to find ways to get her involved, but that wasn't really her thing. And
Yeah,
every night I'd come back and I'd just say sorry, Amma. मैं आप लोगों को time नहीं दे सकता. I haven't been able to spend time with you guys, but I'm so sorry. That was a big sacrifice from my side because I wasn't even able to go see her off at the airport when she was going back to Pakistan because I couldn't take a day off from work because I had to take days off when I'm in Pakistan.
yeah.
So, but
I
I'm
guess it's
glad.
a
I mean,
sacrifice
they were
on
super
their end as
supportive.
well.
Yeah, it is a big
No,
sacrifice on their end. Yeah,